And a sinner, but I'm a saint, 'cause I'm a winner when I'm covered in grace. When's the spring?
Let me start off by saying I honestly didn't even plan on honestly making this video on YouTube. At least I was just expecting to probably put it on my story or to just make like a little rant in my broad channel, to like make a little rant in my broad channel about it. But then I was like, this is actually so valuable. Like I was reading and first of all let me give you a disclaimer. Hey Google, what time is it?
It's 2:16 a.m.
Have grace on me, like have grace. Like I'm on the verge of about to start hallucinating. I'm so tired, about to tweak out. But I just finished writing and I just finished reading the book of Exodus. Again, I was planning on making a story about it or just talking about it in my broad channel, but I really just wanted to come and make a video on it because I feel like it's very important what I learned, what the Holy Spirit had taught me, and I feel like it could be beneficial to somebody in their walk, you know, just having this knowledge and doing with it as you please. So I was in the book of Exodus and I can't even see. I can't even see. I wrote it down on this little loose leaf and I just put a paper clip and paper clipped it into my Bible so I can always keep it. But let's see. This is it. 2 pages actually. Yeah, your girl's in her research. Like I was digging. I was so intrigued. I was so locked in. I was so sleepy, but I wasn't stopping until I finished. So I just pray there's no like misspelling with at least too much spelling errors where I can't understand it. It's not, I'm just playing. But what I wanted to speak about was in Exodus when God sent the 10 plagues to Egypt. He was making a statement. God was making a statement by those 10 plagues. Because each plague that God sent was a direct attack to a lowercase g god that the Egyptians worshipped. Throughout the video, I would say lowercase g gods or gods, but I really do need to make clear that there's only one true living God. His name is Yahweh Adonai. So with that being said, a better word I could use was deity, but it is what it is. There's only one God that holds the power, and this video literally proved that. And he did this to attack those gods to prove that Yahweh is the one and only true God, that he is the overall I am. And the I am is so important on how he got that title, and I'll speak about that in a little bit. Before we get to the plagues, I just want to talk about how God introduced himself to Moses in Exodus. In Exodus chapter 3 verse 13 and 14, it says, "If I go to the people of Israel and tell them the God of your ancestors had sent me to you, they will ask me, what is his name? Then what should I tell them?" God replied to Moses, "I am who I am. Say this to the people of Israel, the I am has sent me to you." That statement alone was so powerful, unlike the Egyptian gods, because when it came to the Egyptians, the gods, they only ruled over one specific thing, like the god of the sun, the god of the Nile, the god of fertility, the capital G God. He was just proving how he's self-sufficient, how he's self-existing, how he's the one who have true authority over every living, every single thing. Typically when the lowercase g gods would introduce themselves to Egypt, they would say, "I am the god of the sun, Ra," or "I am Hapi, the god of the Nile." So they're declaring that they are, but it's very limited. God really had to show them, like, I am omnipotent, I am omnipresent, I am omniscient, I am all-knowing, I can do all things. So with the first plague in Exodus chapter 7 verse 14 through 24, the first plague was when God commanded Moses to turn the Nile River into blood. So the Egyptian god that God had challenged or defeated was Hapi. He was the god of the Nile River. God commanded Moses to turn the river into blood because God wanted to show how he has the true authority over the Nile River. proving that it's only him who have the authority and the power over Egypt's life and economy source. The second plague was the plague of frogs, and this was in Exodus chapter 8 verses 1 to 15. The god that Yahweh ended up defeating was Heket, and she was the goddess of infertility, and that was represented by a frog. So frogs was considered sacred in the Egyptian culture, and they represented fertility and new life. But God, he ended up overwhelming them with so much frogs that it ended up becoming a curse to them rather than a blessing. So that was God's way of mocking her and showing how she don't really have the ability to take action and stop it. The third plague was a plague of gnats. This was in Exodus 18 verse 16 and 19. And the god that Yahweh ended up defeating was Geb, and he was the god of the earth. So the gnats was created from the dust of the ground, and this showed that the land that Geb was supposed to have authority over, he couldn't even control because it's under God's authority. The fourth plague was the plague of flies, and this is in Exodus chapter 8 verses 20 through 32. And the lowercase g god that Yahweh defeated, his name was Capri, and he was the god of the earth, the god of rebirth, and he was typically known to be the god of creation, but he was also depicted to have a beetle's head as well. So when God did the plague of flies, this again showed that Capri have no authority over the flies. He can't control it. He can't stop it. So basically, God is just humbling everyone, showing that y'all really have no authority over what you're claiming you can control. I love that for him. The fifth plague was the death of the livestock, and this is in Exodus chapter 9, verses 1 through 7. So the goddess, her name was Hathor, and she was the goddess of love and protection, but she was often depicted as a cow. Yeah, God defeated her, did what he had to do. Livestock was an essential for the Egyptians' economy, and also they used them a lot for religious sacrifices too. So what God did is he struck the animals with a disease. Everyone died. Hathor looked crazy because it's like, girl, go get your animals that you claim to control. She couldn't control it. Why? Because it's in God's authority, not hers. The sixth plague was the plague of boils, and this is Exodus chapter 9 verses 8 through 12. And the god that Yahweh ended up defeating was Imhotep. And he was the god of medicine and healing, the god of herbalistics, whatever. Clearly not. So the boils that God ended up casting on the people showed the people that your healers can't even heal you for real. Like, their medicine ain't working. Their herbalistics ain't working. Why? Because God shut it down. And the only way the boils is going to stop is if God tell the boils to stop. He proved that. So the seventh plague was the plague of hail. And it's in Exodus chapter 9, verse 13 to 35. So there was two gods, a god and a goddess that Yahweh ended up defeating. The goddess, her name was Nut, and she was the goddess of the sky. Whereas you had Set, and he was the god of the storms, or god of hail. And just like the rest, God put the hailstorm, he put the thunderstorm, he blasted the people, he took them through a crazy storm just to show them that your God did not control this, your God cannot stop this, your God has no authority when I'm here. So the eighth plague was the plague of locusts, and this is in Exodus chapter 10, verse 1 through 20. This lowercase g god that Yahweh ended up defeating, his name was Osiris, and Osiris was the Egyptian deity of the underworld, of fertility, of agriculture, as well as resurrection. So by God sending the locusts to go and attack the crops, this really just defeated Osiris, because it shows that you have no control over Egypt's food supply, and you definitely can't provide for them. So the ninth plague was the plague of darkness, and this was in Exodus chapter 10, verses 21 through 29. And in that time in Egypt, they had their most deep respect for this god. His name was Ra, and he was the sun god. He was the highest authority. He was like, to the Egyptians, the god above all gods. He was like top 2, and he wasn't 2. Like, that's how high up there he was to them. He was like the revered deity. Like, he was the most respected out of any of the other gods. So what did God do? God gave him straight darkness for 3 days to show that Ra can't touch him on a light. God just proved that he had all power over light and life in that scenario. And the 10th plague was the death of the firstborn. And this was in Exodus 11 and 12. And this time God attacked Pharaoh, because Pharaoh was considered a god to the Egyptians. Like, he was known as the god of protection. He would often protect the Egyptians. That's why they looked to him as a god. So to them, Pharaoh claimed divine authority, and he was seen as the ultimate representation of gods. So overall, it was Ra and Pharaoh. They was the top two. So God decided to strike all the firstborns, including Pharaoh's firstborn son. And this just showed his sovereignty over life. Pharaoh literally couldn't even control it, to sit there and watch your son die. And you're supposed to be the God of protection. That's crazy. By God doing that, he definitely humbled the most powerful figure in Egypt. So by God doing this, he just showed that him, Yahweh, he's the only one that's worthy of all worship. He's the only one that's worthy of everybody praise. And he just proved that he is the one and ultimately true God. If you're looking for guidance on your journey with Christ and just how to grow your relationship with him, I have an ebook that I know you will love. So much people love this. So much people hit me back saying how it really helped them with their walk. And I appreciate that, because one thing about my ebooks, I took so much time. Like that book is what made me an author. I'm telling you right now, ever since I dropped that book, I was like, I'm an author because of how much time and effort I put into it. So the fact that it's helping so much people and helping them gear their lives to Christ, I'm so happy. So I know you'll love it. It's in the description. It's very affordable. I have it to where almost anybody could buy it so that they could just grow their walk with God. If you want it, it's there in the description. But it's your girl Lull, the praying entrepreneur, or Ty-Asia, whichever you prefer to call me. I just might answer to it. And I appreciate you guys for tapping in. It's almost 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm so tired, but I'm glad I got my study on. Like, this made me feel so good to just reveal this to y'all, what I've been learning. And I can't wait to put you guys on with more stuff that I learned. Let me know in the comments if this is new information to you, if you learned this before. I'm so curious to know. If you made it this far in the video, comment Yahweh, and we would just have like a little worship session in the comments. I would love that. So I know you made it to the end of the video, and also to just show some worship. So follow me on all my socials. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because if you enjoyed this video, I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy all my other videos. And especially if you love me on here, you'll love me on my Instagram. Everything is @luxury. All my social medias is @luxury. And I will see you guys in my next video. I'm gonna go get some rest, because I don't know if it's my astigmatism, but it's hallucinations. All right, good night, you guys.